Welcome back, my wonderful tome readers. We are continuing Of the Devil today, as many of you are aware, and hopefully eagerly awaiting, as we are very soon going to enter the second court case of the game, especially if we are counting Chapter 0, the anyone interested in this type of gameplay completely free demo, of which I was able to get 5 to 6 hours of entertainment out of, which is not bad. Probably shorter for those of you smarter than me, as I am very slow to learn and pick things up, but I'm doing my best. But yes, Of the Devil. Brief recap. We're not going to go into all the nitty-gritty details, as they will probably come up as we present some of the evidence. But overall, we are currently investigating the death of our late friend, Dr. David Assure. Someone who is not quite the nobility, but he is very famous and credited, that's the term, credited with a lot of the rapid advancements in warm androids. Androids that can pass for human incredibly well, in addition to having the brain and mental powers of a robot, the high computation speed and whatnot. They also have a sort of universal blood used as the coolant, which also means, and this happened in-game, well, not on screen, but in-game recently, enough to save a wounded soldier for a battlefield medic position to just donate and save the man. Great PR all around. So unfortunate timing for our friend David Assure to supposedly have committed suicide. Not a case we would have ordinarily taken, but technically, suicide is an illegal act, and we successfully argued our way into defending our late friend. Yes, there's a conflict of interest, as our lie goes. We did have to lie to get that permission, but to protect his legacy and protect some of his recent decisions being written off as just the actions of someone who is not in their right mind, who is mentally ill, having, supposedly committed suicide, we don't want that legacy to be besmirched. Not something we would have originally done, but he did leave us a warm android who he might have considered his daughter. She certainly considered him her father, which kind of leaves us the role of the Blue Fairy, as the Pinocchio comparison has been made by many a person. That's subtly spoiled the game for me, but it's just that good. Just because I know how some things are going to turn out, the lead up to it, the path from the points A to B is very interesting and entertaining and engaging, and probably a few more words starting with the letter E. But that being said, we've collected all the evidence we could afford to in the time frame provided us. We are currently doing the last preparations for our case, after which we will presumably immediately be flung into this hearing. Not technically a court case yet. We're trying to argue a position where a proper judge will see it. To prove that we would not be wasting the time, that we have evidence enough to have reasonable doubt. That's it. Throw some reasonable doubt out there. So without further ado, we just recently got off the taxi cab. I skipped some of the awkward pauses before Sarah starts this. Does it excite you, going into courtrooms? What do you mean? You don't feel the tension in the air as the audience murmurs amongst themselves? You don't feel a fiery sense of justice rising in your gut as the prosecution smirks at your ragtag assembly of witnesses. Do you really think this is going to be like some kind of movie where the good guys save the day? Probably not. Though that would be nice if it were. Oh, what's your deal, anyway? Did David train you off of a movie marathon from hell or something? We did watch films together, if that's what you're asking, though he was rarely the one who suggested it. So you were the aggressor. What's an android get out of watching a flick, anyway? What do I get? Why do you do it? What's your reason? I'm not sure how to answer your question. Never mind. Forgot what I was talking to. I like the performances. Sure, there you go. Got a crush on Humphrey Bogart or something? I'm starting to feel like this game is not aimed at me, 'cause I recognize the name, but not from where. One sec. Just for whatever viewers might also be unfamiliar. Humphrey actor, not actor. Oh wow, no, that is before my time. 1899 to 1957, which is a respectable life. Almost 60. But what is he best known for? Casablanca! Okay. That's probably why I recognize the name. I've not seen the movie. But it's one of those... not bucket list, but like eventuals I aim to watch it. He's a handsome man. Sarah. But it's not the actors I like so much as their performance. The truth is, besides father, I have very little experience when it comes to people. I hadn't noticed internally. I breathe the net, and I watch people and what they share of their lives. But it's all so subtle, so hard to follow. There are so many unspoken rules that can't be taught, only learned, and I often struggle to grasp them. You're all so complex, so detailed, but the characters on screen are exaggerated, larger than life. The actors enunciate. Their body language is precise, meaningful. Their faces are bright and softly lit, and their eyes are... It's fiction. So these characters and their stories, they have a beginning, a middle, and end. And the people on screen don't ask anything of you except your attention. You can't disappoint them, or make them feel awkward. You can just watch and learn. But what about you, Adonai? What about me? Do you like movies? Yeah, sure. Back when I was a kid. Really? Who was your favorite director? What was your favorite film? It was a long time ago. I don't remember. Okay, State Building. Floor 48. Before I continue, I think odds are our favorite movie is going to come up. For some reason. What I saw in the Chapter 0, it did like to kind of do subtle call-aheads to what seemed unimportant, but later becomes a reveal of characterization. Okay. Things are quieter than I expected here at the courthouse. Though I've always felt courthouse as a bit of a misnomer. government building is probably the best way to describe these towers, all-encompassing and impenetrably vague. 100 floors of officials, and documents, and paper-pushing queues, with a couple dozen courtrooms squeezed in along the way. Didn't think I'd be arguing in court when I woke up today. Didn't think that my friend would be dead, or that he'd have thrust an android onto my lap, either. I could just walk in there and concede. Emma would be irritated, and more than a little confused, but I could play it off as an exercise in grief. The android would complain, loudly, of course, but I wouldn't have to listen to it. Now that it's registered my name, I could probably just order the damn thing to reset its memory. But I haven't done that. And I guess I don't plan to. Why? It must be because I have my suspicions as well. Sarah insists that David would never commit suicide. I haven't actually stopped to ask myself whether or not I agree. David was rational, subdued, private, and hard on himself. Not prone to emotional outbursts. So maybe that's why I'm finding myself outside a courtroom, prepared to humor and add suspicions before the state. Because I don't really believe David killed himself either. What's your progress bar at? I can confirm that I am making progress. Well, shit, let's not get ahead of ourselves. But it would be difficult to summarize that progress in terms of a completion percent. Give it your best shot anyway. 4%. Oof. Are you feeling confident in your case? Markedly less so after hearing that. Do you think the judge will be amenable to your argument? What are you talking about? Do you know the judge we've been assigned? Are they particularly lenient or strict? Adjutants are always a coin flip, so... You do know what an adjutant is, don't you? Are you expecting to see a bearded old man with a robe and gavel when we get in there? Should I not? Adjutants are android judges, okay? With all the authority that entails. I am surprised to hear that people are willing to accept rulings made by automated dependents. Rulings come from landmark cases in the higher courts. Those are passed down by actual judges, real people with decades of study and experience. But not every eviction case or traffic ticket that ends up in court requires years of legal expertise. Sometimes, all you need is a referee and a sentencing algorithm. So, androids are used to reduce caseload. Been that way for decades. But how was a law that replaced judges ever enforced? Wouldn't there be injunctions, stalling? Judges did fight it for years, at every level, and in every theater. But the public lost their patience for that kind of obstruction during the 60s. The state needed to shred budgets across the board. And so judges that couldn't be replaced by years of legal battles were instead ushered into early retirement by the unrelating force of our great nation's accountants. And it's not controversial, having machines determine sentencing for human beings. Whatever controversy there is, it gets aimed at the machines, not the people who put them there. And the machines can't lose sleep over it. Besides, it used to be that even the most high-profile crimes wouldn't get a court date until weeks or months later. Nowadays, most crimes are prosecuted within a single business week. And that's not rushing things. Keeps people in my line of work on their toes, that's for sure. I'm just surprised to hear that there's so much haste. Don't they teach you about classical conditioning in Android school? You gotta feed the dog immediately after you ring the bell. If punishment doesn't follow the crime in quick succession, the lesson doesn't stick. I see. But if adjutants are so effective, why aren't they used in every trial? Why aren't they used in politics? That's a logical question to ask. And the answer is that logic only gets you so far when it comes to people. Doesn't everyone want the courts to be as just as possible? If adjutants are truly impartial and incorruptible, everyone wants justice, sure. But there are other considerations to be had. Such as disgust. What? That's all people really care about. What all their morals boiled down to. Just what they do or don't find disgusting. Only problem is, everything's more powerful when viewed through a screen. So when everyone sees the world through AR and cameras and no one gets dirt under their fingernails, you'd be surprised what you can get away with. I don't understand. Yeah, well, therein lies the problem. Alrighty. Courtroom 48, D. Ooh. I think a few more slurps of Gatorade. Just a preliminary hearing, huh? You wouldn't know it from the look on her face. But I shouldn't have expected any leeway once we stepped into the courtroom. Not with her. That's the adjutant up there. Is it asleep? It's loading. Also, interesting. So design-wise, blind, like the typical depictions of justice. But laurel leaves... Sorry, asshole outside. Laurel leaves around the head. In this case, almost like a angel. Not quite a crown. Almost like a halo. But I believe laurel leaves are typically victory? Yeah, because it's sort of like sitting on your laurels or resting on your laurels or such. There's still kind of the, again, typical justice depiction having, well, bare shoulders, because she's wearing these sleeves. But the, not toga, the dress style is kind of like some of the more feminine Grecian outfits. Single sash around the waist to keep it cinched up, but otherwise coming down to a skirt. And despite looking humanoid, they did not bother with the hands or the visible knees to leg, which still reveal the kind of android roboticness. Interesting design choice of giving it nails, but also almost looking like brass knuckles by having these the knuckles in gold. It's going to be very interesting depiction. Also, I just noticed these are less like ears and more kind of like headphones, for which these stick out like, I guess, more like antenna than halo. Yeah, I vibe with this. This is a pretty good accumulation. Not mishmash. Combination. That's a combination of just traits to make this a figure of justice. But yeah, it's loading. It needs to load. Don't be rude. Not every ad can afford to be decked out as extravagantly as you. Especially not those the state buys in bulk. There's an audience. You mean the gallery? That's nothing. It could have been a lot worse. Word of any trial in the case of David Usher's death must have spread like wildfire. Even a mock trial like this one. Detectives like Reyes or London would get chewed out for leaking things to the press. But uniformed officers had little to lose and a lot to gain by dropping a text to their attentive friends in the media. And then there's the corporate plants. Interns, usually, preferably ones with modded eyes. It's illegal to film inside a courtroom, but this is the year 2086. Things are going to get out one way or another. I don't like to have my face on camera. I don't like attention in general. But I'm not such a coward that I'd skip David's funeral just because there'd be paparazzi outside of it. My pretty little likeness was going to end up in the background to some tabloid photograph one way or another by the end of this circus. At least this way, it's decent marketing for my legal services. What will happen once the adjutant finishes loading? How will the trial proceed? With all those films you watch, I'd figure that you could extrapolate. I am asking so as to correct any misconceptions. Well, not everything you saw on the silver screen is outdated. The court will come to order, and there will be a clarification of the charges. The defense enters a plea, and if it's not guilty, the prosecution begins making their case. That means calling witnesses to the stand, correct? Mostly. Sometimes they'll testify virtually from a separate location. Depends on the security concerns surrounding the particular individual and the case. What do you do, then? Sit here and watch? Not if I want to get paid. I cross-examine the witnesses after the prosecution are done questioning them. I can present evidence or witnesses of my own in response, as long as I have discovery backing me. You've said that before. Discovery means just that I can't pull stuff out of my pockets and present it without any kind of context. I have to have proof that I acquired it legally during the course of my investigation. Most of the time, that means having recordings or witnesses that can verify my investigation, which I can provide. You didn't think I was letting you tag along because I liked you, did you? And the jury, I don't see where they would sit. The jury hasn't sat in the actual courtroom for years now. They have their own chambers where they watch a feed of their trial's proceedings in anonymity. And that's not an issue. Don't people want to look someone in the eye before passing judgment on them? You've got an old-fashioned sense of justice, don't you? But there's no jury at all or preliminary hearing anyway. It's only meant to evaluate whether or not the prosecution has enough evidence to go to trial. A mere formality in today's day and age. With tools like optics and arcs, there's never any shortage of evidence to work with. So all you have to do today is convince the adjutant. Easier said than done. Adjutants lean heavily towards evidence over arguments. And right now, all the evidence suggests that David killed himself. If it's going to be an uphill battle, I can't afford to stumble. I need to focus on establishing an alternate interpretation of the facts, and it needs to be solid. But I don't have a suspect, or even a motive for killing David. Yet. Anyway, I'll need to be sharp. Emma doesn't play nice enough for me to be anything less. I think it's waking up. This third lower court This third lower court is now in session. Adjutant AD 84 presiding. I call to order the case of the people versus Assure. Do the people wish to make an opening statement? No, Your Honor. No point in bothering when it's just the adjutant here. Very well. Do the defense wish to make an opening statement? Not at this time, Your Honor. Might as well ring the bell and get this shit show started. If neither the people nor the defense wish to make an opening statement, then it falls to me to set the stage. My model name is Adjutant. My unit designation code is AD-84. I am a machine, an automated dependent, and I serve the state by presiding over trials. You might find yourself wondering why. What gives a machine the right to judge a human? A fair question, but the answer is simple. In every culture, in every society, no matter how it is worshipped, enshrined, or deified, justice has one defining quality. Justice is beautiful. Like a balanced equation, like the golden ratio, like the Vitruvian man, justice is beautiful. So, what gives me the right? This gorgeous bod. I like the gap in character between how I am voicing her in a kind of robotic fashion and how she is speaking. I'm sticking with this choice. It's incredible. Whatever. Forget it. Forget I said anything. I was trying to lighten the mood, but I can see everyone hates me. Do the trial without me. They're guilty, or whatever. Your Honor. Wait, what the flip? This defendant's already dead. Why are we doing this? Is this a debug thing? 'Cause I'll log the error if I need to. No, Your Honor. This is a preliminary hearing to determine whether David Assure did, in fact, commit suicide as he... I get it. You want to make sure he wasn't cuckoo in the cranium before you cut up his will like a T-bone. I didn't realize that adjutants were so lively. They aren't. They're supposed to be austere and statuesque. Looks like we got served the most in-need repairs adjutant the court system could find. Whatever paper pusher, we rushed to get this trial going. Must have wanted a little payback for the kindness. What's that look for? Could it be you are trying to size me up? Wouldn't dream of it, Your Honor. Good. Because if you have doubts about my ability to run this trial, I could always just enact summary judgment here and now. I'm sure you'd find my ruling to be fair and even-handed. That won't be necessary, Your Honor. She's much more of a character than I'm used to seeing up there, even counting all the flesh and blood judges I've met. But she's still just an adjutant. She'll follow the evidence where it leads. So as long as I can make a few adjustments for the occasional outburst from the bench, my plan's still workable. So, people, shall we get started with that first witness? Right away, Your Honor. The people call Dr. Yumi Sato to the stand. It's Yumi. Hey. So how about it, pretty lady? You swear to tell the whole and unadulterated truth to the best of your ability? I do. Good enough for me. Dr. Sato, you were in charge of the autopsy for David Assure, were you not? I was. And when did you make your examination? I started last night. Well, technically, 1 a.m. would be very early this morning. I think you can still say last night if you're talking about 1 in the morning. Objection! Jesus, Abby. The defense will have their opportunity to cross-examine. Until then, they should refrain from making errant remarks. What the hell? All I said was... Yeah, what she said. You mean sustained? Don't get cute with me, counsel. I see. This is going to be interesting. Being cute is my job. God damn. We've barely gotten started. That seemed pretty bad, Adonai. Making mistakes will increase your blind. Got it. Blind is how much credit you lose for answering incorrectly, and you yourself are not controlling the ante. Blind increments on its own throughout the trial as the stakes get higher, but resets at the end of each day. Blind starts at and caps out at a higher number if you're playing in high roll. Mind the blind number in the top left when it appears. It helps you gauge what you stand to lose. You should try to avoid being penalized in the future. Thanks for the tip. Shake it off. I'll get my chance to raise objections of my own soon enough. Dr. Sato, were you able to determine the cause of death? He passed away due to respiratory failure. Could you explain what that means to the court? Essentially, he wasn't getting enough oxygen to his blood. It seems by the time he arrived at the hospital, he was no longer breathing. What does respiratory failure look like? What are the symptoms? There would be lightheadedness, dizziness, fainting, pale skin, and a bluish tinge around certain extremities. And the condition he was in matched those symptoms. Correct. In your experience, what are the most common causes of respiratory failure? It can be caused by injury or disease, but the subject had no wounds or reported illnesses, and otherwise appeared to be perfectly healthy. And what else could cause respiratory failure, then? It is also commonly seen in fatal drug overdoses. Drug overdoses. Did you perform a tox screen on Dr. Assure? Yes, but his tox screen came back clean. Whatever killed him, it wasn't something we've encountered before. Wait, a clean tox screen? Clean. During testimony, we can still advance 6 faster. On space left mouse. Okay. You need to read carefully and wait for the witness to make a statement that sounds wrong. And hit the call button to call their bluff. Testimony will keep repeating from the beginning until you call. Can't let the chance slip by. Need to catch her mistake the second it comes out of her mouth. Subject passed away due to respiratory failure. Essentially, he wasn't getting enough oxygen into his blood. He would have experienced lightheadedness, dizziness, fainting. The subject was healthy. The respiratory failure tox screen was run at the hospital, came back clean. Just call the statement. You need to respond with evidence. Hover the 3 cards that show up. Left click to make your choice if the timer runs out. Bit. Ooh. Okay. It's possible for David Assure's tox screen to be clean. We all know it. Since he was on camera drinking alcohol the night that he died. That makes sense. And that scared you? What? The witness merely misspoke, Your Honor, as it plainly states on the tox report itself. Dr. Assure did have alcohol in his blood, but not at such a concentration as to be lethal. Yeah, my bad. When I said the tox screen was clean, I just meant Didn't tell the attending physicians anything they didn't already know. Overall, a little more nitpicky than I like to be, but at least I was able to balance the momentum more or less. Shall we continue, Dr. Sato? The tox screens were negative for pharmaceuticals and drugs. What caused Dr. Schur's respiratory failure? During my autopsy, I analyzed his blood and was able to isolate a foreign compound. So there was a lethal dose of a drug inside his body. It just happened to be a drug that the hospital had never encountered before. That is correct. I think we're all going to get tired pretty fast if we don't at least pick a placeholder name for the substance, Your Honor. The people don't object, Your Honor. In that case, I'll put all my creative heuristics to work, coming up with an original, scientific, fitting name for this substance. A name like Omega. Omega-3. That name is already taken. Fine. Call it Delta, or whatever. Delta. Used in science to denote an unknown variable. Not bad. Delta has other meanings when it comes to drugs. But yeah, our delta matches no known public pharmacology or toxicology records. That being said, chemically, it does have all the hallmarks of a general depressant. I know the feeling. So it stands to reason that it would exhibit a similar effect on the body when ingested. We say ingested. Why? I eliminated all the other possibilities during my examination of the body. He must have swallowed it, and judging from his stomach contents, it must have been a liquid. Thank you, Dr. Sato. Shall I summarize things for the court? Yes, please. I wasn't listening that closely. The victim died of respiratory failure, and his tox screen shows that his blood was clear of anything that could cause respiratory failure, except for this unknown substance. The poison we've labeled Delta. Well, that sounds like a textbook suicide. Shall we wrap it up here? Not quite yet, Your Honor. This may clearly be a poisoning, but there's at least one detail about this case that doesn't feel like a suicide at all. I think it's the whiskey. Oh, wait. It's one of these two. Young's testimony, or it's the whiskey. Because it was negative for this poison. We don't know how it's added. I'm going to go with this. Frank with David. Didn't see David add anything, if the pronoun game is to be believed, and this is corroborated by the cam footage. The people shouldn't get ahead of themselves. There's nothing textbook about a supposed suicide that had a witness sitting there watching it happen. Okay, it's because there was a witness there, got it. As you say. Well, now I'm lost. Was this poisoning a suicide, or not? If that's the case, then perhaps we should give the defense the opportunity to cross-examine. Unless they're going to insist on testifying themselves. How kind of you to offer. Ball's in my court now. So how do I counter? Emma's argument basically goes as follows. David ingested the Delta knowingly, and the Delta caused his respiratory failure. He died of respiratory failure. Thus, David committed suicide. Every piece of information you learn deals you a card. Choose only questions that are logical and relevant, and only press if you think a line of questioning is worth continuing, or else you'll go bust and lose credit. So we're playing 21 right now. Depending on how we push this, or if we even do, is how we get more. However, press to see what the follow-up question would be. You can only win blackjack when you reach exactly 21. Ooh. So don't press further if you're already there. Don't ask the wrong questions. So we're currently at 12. Cross-examination. Need to put a microscope over the weakest part of that argument. And hope that some cracks will appear under pressure. Are you sure it was ingested? It's a simple question. I think we can trust that it's respiratory failure. And this is also a reasonable thing. Are we sure Delta is to blame? I think the strongest one to start is, are you sure it was ingested? Dr. Sato, you said the subject had to have ingested the Delta orally. But how sure can we actually be about that? I'm pretty sure? I mean, I could go into detail about all the cavities that I checked, but... I'm going to try pressing here. Is it knowingly ingested? Okay. But how sure can we be that the subject ingested the Delta knowingly? Well, we can't be sure of that. Certainly not just from an autopsy. You said it must have been a liquid, yes? Would it have to have been a large amount? Depends on the concentration, the delivery solution. It could have been just a drop. The kind of thing that could easily go unnoticed, yes? Calls for speculation, Your Honor. Withdrawn. Oh, man. I wanted to jump on her case. Are you sure Delta is to blame? Dr. Sato, you've only able to identify the presence of this Delta after hours of work. Can you really be sure that this never-before-seen chemical can cause respiratory failure? Well, I have had time to run simulations, and they do give every indication that it would act as a depressant. Just enough of any depressant and respiratory failure will occur. Suppress only simulations. Let's see, how do I open the logs as L? Yes. I think we press this. You've ran simulations. So you haven't tested Delta on an actual person? No, I haven't. That would be very difficult to do, given our extremely limited sample. Not to mention highly unethical. Of course. But without such a test, you don't actually know for sure that Delta can cause many of the symptoms you've described. Was there a question in that statement, Counselor? You don't actually know for sure, do you? No. Not yet, anyway. Seems like that's... Blackjack. Okay, we asked the right questions there. That's the first instance of blackjack, so it's probably going to be the easiest. Thank you for your time, Dr. Sato. We all appreciate it. But it does seem like we're still in the dark about many details regarding Dr. Assure's death, wouldn't you say? Well, poisoning via the compound we're calling Delta is still the most likely explanation. So there are other explanations for what happened. Defense is calling for speculation, Your Honor. It's not speculation when a medical examiner is attempting to explain the cause of death, Your Honor. The witness will answer the question. Well, respiratory failure can be caused by illnesses. If he had undiagnosed pneumonia or some other disease and his respiratory system was weakened, undiagnosed pneumonia with his level of healthcare, it is technically possible. I'll take it. I have no more questions for this witness. Ugh, that felt weak, but I can't be picky when I'm stalling for time. Seeding doubt wherever I can, however I can. It's just about all I can manage. Next witness, Emma. 1 second, take some more slurps before this. Detective Reyes, you were one of the leads investigating this crime scene. Yes, ma'am. And did you interview the EMTs who first arrived on the scene? I did. They responded to an emergency signal from the Home Security Council, located in the kitchen. And what did they find when they arrived on the scene? The victim was unconscious, on the floor of his parlor. He was receiving CPR from a witness, the individual who had called them. They were both airlifted to Gatesfield Memorial Hospital, and Dr. Desher was declared dead shortly after arriving there. She's actually handling herself pretty well up on the stand. I half expected her to roll her eyes during the swearing in. But when you take into consideration her love for boot heel authority, she might be right at home here in the courtroom, the very seat of the state's power over the people. The witness met with the deceased about half hour before he fell ill, from 7:30 to 8 p.m. The two of them talked for some time and shared a drink. Shortly after, Dr. Scher became distracted, lightheaded, and eventually non-responsive. And during the same time period, drinking the same liquor, this witness exhibited no symptoms themselves. None. Through a collaborative effort with Nova Electronics' security division, we searched the entire building. But we found nothing unusual in any of the food or drink on the premises, including the bottle that the witness and the deceased drank from. So what was your ultimate conclusion after investigating the scene? The whiskey bottle was clean. The witness's drink was clean. The only person who got sick was Dr. Asher, drinking from a cup that he had prepared. So it was our determination that David Asher committed suicide by poisoning himself. She's pretty tight-lipped up there, but I think she slipped up at least once. Police want to claim that they've eliminated every other possibility and covered every angle. But I know that there are a number of blind spots that they're not willing to admit to. So we have the upright cup, we have David's cup, and poison. So upright cup, David's cup, poison. Sure met with witness 7:30, 2 p.m. he's dead. He's the one who prepared the drinks. There was no opportunity for the witness to ever slip him something. He drank from a cup he himself poisoned. Seems pretty cut and dry if you ask me. But just to be sure, we scanned the entire kitchen, the lab, the basement. And there was no poison anywhere else. She slipped up there and made a claim she can't actually support. All I need to do is point it out, and then I'll get to watch her self-destruction, which should be fun. Let's go back to log. Okay. Let's go to the beginning of this and go through the witness. They know that. He's the one who prepared the drinks. They know that. No opportunity for the witness to ever slip him something. Let's see. What are the three things? The poison, the upright cup. What was the third thing? Poison, upright cup, and a Asher's cup. Oh! There's no poison anywhere else. Or drink a cup that he himself poisoned. Oh, both of those are good contenders. Actually, wait. Okay, so if we objected here and mentioned his cup, confirm whether or not they scanned that. Or we do the same thing with his cup here at the poison. I'm going to do here. This feels like a stronger thing. Bring up his cup. No poison anywhere else. Or actually... oh, we're going to go with this. There's no poison anywhere else. Actually, no. Not a bad. Nope. Almost made a salient point. Points for that. Boy, I hope not. Otherwise, I wouldn't get to do this. Overruled. Make objections more carefully than that. Slip him something. What am I... oh, wait a second. What about... was there an opportunity for their own cup? Nope. What else? Hey, Baringo, welcome, welcome. I am struggling here. We're trying to find a flaw in Detective Reyes' logic. We got 3 pieces of evidence we're allowed to use. Type of poison, the victim's cup, or the witnesses. Okay, let's scroll back up again and see what we got. Okay. I know the witness, we can't argue that. He's the one who prepared their drinks. I could try to object here with the poison, but I don't think that's good evidence. An opportunity for the witness to ever slip him something. We tried that with the upright. Thank you for the Wilhelm Baringo. Yeah, I'm trying to think aloud here. Maybe I'll think of something. But yeah, we tried questioning whether the witness could have slipped something in their own cup by presenting that, but it didn't work. He drank from a cup that he himself poisoned. What was the other evidence I did? One sec. Show me. No, I checked to see if they had also scanned his cup there. But the game was like, fuck no. Okay. Could try questioning this point. That he drank from a cup and that's where the poison was. We'll give that a try next. We've got a good amount of capital to use. Okay. Was that salient point? Nope. No, okay. Do we know the poison there? Come on! Okay, what else can we question? Okay, we're definitely not going to be questioning the time. Can't question that he prepared the drinks. Try questioning his cup here. scroll up more to get the full story. Here we are. So you can't question that, can't question that. Maybe we can't question opportunity, because there were cameras. I think the only other thing is challenging this with the poison. We already know from the evidence. Actually, wait a second. Can I can't view evidence from here. There's no poison anywhere else. One sec. Evidence. Okay, what can we look through? Young's cup. No traces of foreign element, so we can't question with that cup. Glass. Anywhere at the crime scene or in David's penthouse. Maybe questioning that they couldn't find anything there is the thing. Seeker. No, that's not going to help them. What's this? Oh, the value. Sorry, gotcha. Okay, yeah, we're gonna try that. God, I used up a good amount of the capital I've earned for that. Okay, I can check poison. Okay. Like, it might be I'm stupid. Yeah, no, that's... How do I phrase this? Seems pretty cut and dry if you ask me. I can't remember if we tried this with poison. Fuck, I don't know. What is it we're supposed to question? I know it's definitely not this. It can't be this. Unless we... Let's go through the story again so we have everything visible. God, Morgan, it'd be nice if you had like a bit more of a tip here for us. I can't read your mind. What did she slip up with? Drink the witness ever slip him something, sure. So we definitely try bringing his cup here. Try bringing poison here. Maybe come here and question that there's no poison anywhere else. Okay, let's try poison. No, where... What do we need to do here? I don't know. The plight being stupid as fuck. Oh, what do we do? What do we question? Because we know he prepared their drinks. I don't know. Fuck. I don't want to just brute force this, but I might have to, because I got no fucking clue. I almost wish this had the control that some other visual novels do, where I can scroll back a couple things, so it's a lot quicker to, like, try everything. Fuck, Scan the kitchen, the lab, the basement. Kitchen, lab, the basement. No. So 40 who speak when they both drink. Yeah, no, the time matches. No. Nope. Already checked that. No. No. I don't think this is gonna help. Nope. No. No. That does not help. So, nope. What if what we need to question is with David's cup? What options would that leave us? Okay, if we're gonna do with his cup, we know he's the one who prepared the drinks. What would cause reasonable doubt? So if we used his cup here. Okay, let's try it. Come on. No. God dang it, where are we supposed to use it? We're just supposed to use... Come on. We have game. Maybe it's because we don't know that's how the poison got there? No. Oh, that's it. Okay, so we don't know how the poison got there. You can't make that claim. Not when the evidence record clearly shows the tests of Dr. Asher's cups were inconclusive. Police can't claim he drank from poisoned cup without first proving that his cup was, in fact, poisoned. You're talking a lot of sense, lady. Does it resolve? Or do you have a response, D.A. Rockford? Testing on the deceased's cup has been inconclusive so far, Your Honor. I don't dispute that. I'd be surprised the defense has any idea how else the poison could possibly be delivered to Dr. Asher alone. Not at this time. That's the funny thing about burden of proof. It's not on the defense. As we're all aware. Right. We all knew that. I definitely knew that. Now, if the people are done bemoaning that pesky innocent until proven guilty issue, perhaps I could begin my cross-examination? Fire away, baby. Fire away? Baby. Okay, so, you missed this last time, Barango, but we're trying to pretty much play blackjack here with how we ask questions. We do not want to go over 21, but we cannot end it until we get 21 either. So Reyes' testimony is meant to show that David's the only one who could have poisoned himself. She's on my guard and hard set against helping me, but if I keep focused on eliminating other possibilities, I could get her to make my point for me before she even realizes what's happened. We'll start with this. Could he have been poisoned off camera? Detective, isn't it possible that Dr. Asher was poisoned off camera? Possible. I don't know how else it would have been done. But that just goes to show it had to have been suicide. The only time he was off camera, he was all by himself. Dang it, so that's not it. Shit, that's not where I wanted to lead the conversation. It might certainly seem that way, yes. Has he ever seen poison himself? Detective, we've been doing a lot of assuming and reasoning in quick succession, so I'll ask this plainly for the court. Is there any photographic evidence showing Dr. David Asher adding anything to his drink that night? No. It seems he had already poured for both of them by the time he returned to the parlor. He had already poured. In that case, the next questions need to be when and what. Any boys in the kitchen? Check for Reyes. During the course of your investigation, did you find any samples of Delta in the kitchen or parlor? No. That was a fast answer. Well, it was a pretty easy question. If we had found poison at the scene of the crime, that'd be pretty important, don't you think? What about in his lab? His bedroom? His basement? No, no, and no. We didn't find Delta or any other unusual substance in any part of his penthouse. Right. They never found any poison. No poison at all? What about a poison container? At any point in the investigation, was poison found on the body of the deceased? No. He must have been searched. Did he have any capsules or vials, eyedroppers? Didn't even have his wallet on him. Why? I guess start with anyone else in building? The only people you saw on the cameras that night were Dr. Asher and this witness, correct? Yeah, there was no footage in the house of anyone else. Are there any parts of the house that aren't recorded by camera? Sure. There are a number of rooms in the home's interior that don't have cameras in them. So it's possible that there were other people that night, because cameras weren't watching every room. No, that's not possible. The only way up to the penthouse is through the building's elevator or the fire escape stairs, both of which are on camera. And that still wouldn't get you past the front door, which is also on camera. No one besides the two of them was there that day. I'm at 21, so we stay. Thank you for enlightening the court about this point, Detective. What point? Well, I think it's strange, don't you, Detective? I mean, how could he have possibly poisoned himself without first procuring some poison? Blackjack. In other words, get fucked. What do you mean, procure? Where did it come from, Detective? The poison that you're so sure was dissolved in his drink. It can't have come from thin air, you understand? It had to have been in another container at some point. Whatever it was in before, it probably evaporated. All of it? It only took a small droplet to kill. Your Honor, are you going to ask them to keep it civil? In a minute, sure. There wasn't any pill bottle in his bathroom or syringe in his pocket containing this apparently deadly substance. So how did he get it? What did he keep it in? The police want to claim that Dr. Ashur committed suicide because they've established that his guest never had an opportunity to kill him. But they failed to prove that the victim had the means to kill himself. Then I guess I'll be the one to move things along. The Delta didn't come out of thin air, Counselor. And it didn't come from a syringe either. Dr. Ashur was able to drip the poison right into his cup. Straight from the source. Shit. It's way too specific to be a bluff. Allow me to submit into evidence Exhibit G. A piece of machinery found in Dr. Ashur's laboratory. Sold under the product name Manufacturer. Oh, I know this one. It's used in delicate scientific work to produce nanomachines, chemical compounds, and polymers. That's the same machine I saw when Dawes gave me a tour of the production floor. Very good, Your Honor. It's a valuable tool in any scientific laboratory. Dr. Ashur was well acquainted with its use. As a matter of fact, he had a number of presets coded into it. Even the android can see where this is going. With just a few taps, he could reproduce any number of specific substances for his research, or any other chemical his heart desired, really. You think Brandock Mechanics would allow their product to be used to produce illicit chemicals? Using the manufacturer to make unlicensed drugs does go against their terms and conditions. So Dr. Ashur's warranty is certainly null and void. But they can't hard-code their machines to prevent the production of a drug that hasn't been invented yet. Dr. Ashur died when his respiratory system failed because of a depressant overdose. For him, it would have been peaceful, like falling asleep. You see, he didn't need to commission a synthetic drug from some street vendor or order an exotic poison from overseas. He could produce Delta at any time in the comfort of his own home. A quick and painless death, readily available in under a minute at the touch of a button. Specifically, preset number 19. Damn. I thought I actually had something for a moment there, but I was playing into Emma's hand the entire time. Well, let's look at this new one. Does it just add to the manufacturer? I guess so. Presets and this compound identical substance found in his bloodstream after his death. It's like the fourth plan. Yeah, don't need this. Seems like we're done with this witness, Your Honor. Yes, ma'am. But before we move on, perhaps we should take a moment, put together a timeline of events as we know them. Not for me, of course, just in case someone else might need it. Simple enough. We know that Dr. Ashur left the parlor and went down to the basement at 7:36 p.m. That's where he got the whiskey and the cups they drank from. The cameras show him returning to the parlor to drink with a witness at 7:40 p.m. And of course, we know that he fell ill, passed away shortly thereafter. Any objections so far, Counselor? Double check here. No. Got the whiskey in the cups. Yeah, because that's in his basement. Gonna show him returning at 7:40. Fell ill and passed away shortly after. Yeah, that is correct so far. Emily described it accurate as we know it. As you say. With this latest piece of evidence, we now know that Asher could have easily dispensed the poison directly into his cup by placing it inside the manufacturer, activating the preset, and simply waiting 2 minutes. Easily accomplished during the 4 minutes he spent off camera from 7:36 to 7:40. Wouldn't you say? Ooh, a complete timeline of events. He had the means. He had the only opportunity. Seems like we're about ready to wrap up here. No. That's where the other cameras come in. Yeah, that's still that's still being decrypted by our girl. Yeah. I think she said it was just before we came in here, 4%. Where are we on that loading bar of yours, Sarah? How did I had a feeling you'd say that. Well, Counselor, are we done here? I mean, we have to go against it, but I'm not sure how. We're gonna have to do our best. Raise feels like we're missing at least one biggie here, folks. Namely, motive. Oh, right. I knew that. I wasn't getting excited to finish early, or anything. This is a preliminary hearing, Counselor. Our focus should be on the evidence, so just feels like an awful waste of taxpayer dollars. Get us all down here for a debate and not get to the truth of the matter, you know? So, I was hoping we'd have to go through this next part. What are you talking about? Your Honor, if it pleases the court. Ooh, new evidence? Gimme. This is a recording of a phone conversation, dated 6:30 p.m. last night, between the deceased and a man he was in a relationship with. A man named Isaac Porter. Porter and David's breakup call? Memo wants to present it here now. The content must be. Relevance, Your Honor? Yeah, that. What bearing does this recording have on the case at hand? It establishes what emotional state the deceased was in on the day he died. Cool. Begin. Planeback. Oh god, I'm gonna need some search for this if I'm gonna have to portray emotion right now. Hello? Always so soft-spoken. Isaac, you there? Yeah, I'm here. What's wrong? Don't know. Guess I wasn't expecting you to pick up. Why not? Did you mean to call me? Yeah, I did. You're gonna ask me how I've been? Yeah, how have you been? Christ, David. What's the matter? Whatever it is whatever I did, I'm sorry. Whatever you did? That's alright, man. I'm sure you are sorry. I just don't want any more apologies from you. I'm sorry. Okay. And I don't think I want anything from you anymore, David. But what do you mean? I shouldn't have done this. This was unnecessary. My bad, man, for not taking the hints. With you, it's always better left unsaid, right? More efficient that way, so you can keep working. Isaac, if I've been distant with you, or... Nah, you haven't been distant with me, or cold with me, or anything with me for a while now. Isaac... Just forget it, man. Forget I called. Forget it all, yeah? Let's just forget we are anything but strangers. That's all we are now, anyway. Isaac, recently I've been distracted. I know. Nah, don't worry about it. Really, we're good. Oh. Okay. So, do you need anything? Or should I... Where did you even get this? All the doctor assures incoming and outgoing phone calls were recorded by the building's penumbra system. And the recording continued for several seconds after each call was ended, for quality assurance. Remind me to check the terms and conditions on my next phone bill. Shall we hear the rest? Gotta be the last time. Last time I let someone... Last time. Father. It might just be a call. It makes for pretty damning evidence at this point in the discussion. Emma's got her means, opportunity and motive all lined up. So why is she looking at me like that? That was depressing. Can we finish up without anything else that horrible? Oh, Rango, gotta head out, I assume? Eat dinner? Yeah, no problem. Enjoy your dinner. I'm gonna continue struggling through this with my incredibly slow brain. Maybe I'll figure something out before I lose, Jesus, I'm already down to 19. I started with, like, 54 or something. Oof. Emma's never been apologetic in victory. So does that mean this is just... pity? Fuck that noise. Less than 2 hours before Dr. Usher died, Isaac Porter ended their relationship over the phone. The court can make a reasonable assumption about what kind of mental state Dr. Usher was in last night. That was a bad move, Miss Rockford. Then, if the people have nothing further to add, I've been feeling off my game all day. Caught between corporate inbreeders and ant-brain protesters and pitting me here, now. That's all it takes to get my blood properly boiling. It's about time for me to call my first witness, no? You wanna keep going after that? What are you doing, counselor? Just calling the ultimate silver bullet, rock solid, slam dunk witness a girl could ask for. Is here good? Does it matter where I put my hands? Miss Starling, thank you for coming here today. Of course, whatever I can do. What is your relation to the deceased? I was his executive assistant at Noble Electronics. I would arrange his meetings, coordinate communications between him and other departments, that sort of thing. Ultimate silver bullet. Starling's the only play I have right now, the only stalling tool I have left. For now, I should just focus on getting as much information from her as possible. Whether or not it's useful, it'll at least buy me some time. While Jess was being sworn in, Sarah mentioned that the hard drive's about 60% decrypted. Considering the rate Sarah's gone it so far, there's maybe another hour left. I might be able to stall that long, if I talk real slow. I'd like to ask you a few questions about Dr. Ashur. Please, answer them to the best of your ability. Right. Dr. Ashur was a well-known public figure, but he was well-regarded professionally? Of course. Dr. Ashur's work set the bar for the entire automated dependent world. Focus, Spearmint. You say you coordinated his communications. Were there ever threats? Did people ever express an intent to harm him? Objection. Calls for speculation. Intent. I'm feeling like that's gonna be a sustained. Did anyone ever threaten him? There were times when he was the focus of negative attention. How so? Dr. Ashur was a favorite subject of many conspiracy theorists. With all his contributions to the field, it was easy for them to make claims about his influence. They say that his work was plagiarized, or that he's hiding illegal subcommands in the technology he helped develop. And people would contact him about these conspiracy theories. Relevance, whether or not people wanted to kill him. Well, withdrawn. Miss Starling, people would attempt to contact him, yes, but their messages were always too vague for the police to take action on. They would say that he belonged in jail, or that he couldn't avoid the truth, or that someone should do something to shut him up. Did they ever talk about hurting him? Yes. But I always turn those messages straight over to the police. Yeah, I'm seeing that on the record. Who writes this stuff? All those cases have long since been resolved, Your Honor, and none of the parties involved have had contact with David Ashur in years. The police take harassment very seriously. Something you want to add, Counselor? Just clearing my throat. May I continue? You worked with Dr. Ashur for many years. Did you have a relationship outside of work? Did you ever talk about anything besides professional concerns? Sure, we've gone out to dinner, or met on the weekends. I think he'd like to pick my brain since he needed relationship advice a lot. Even if he didn't realize that was what he's asking for. I'd like to think that he knew he could talk to me, but did he ever talk to you, or to your knowledge anyone else, about hurting himself? God, no, never. Do you know of any history he might have had with mental illness, depression, anxiety? No. So when you heard the people argue that Dr. Ashur had done this to himself, I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. You're saying that you can't believe... Objection. On what grounds? Asked and answered. Stalling. And also, the people have documents that would be of interest to the court in this matter. Juicy. And what matter specifically are you referring to? The deceased's mental health history. Hamill wouldn't be speaking up if she didn't have something real. So what the hell is this about? We have private correspondences that describe. If they're private, then they should not have been obtained by the people without his permission. He can't give permission if he's already dead. And we're well within our rights to obtain evidence as it pertains to his crime. Convincing. Damn. Didn't honestly expect to stop her from admitting her evidence into the record. I was hoping to at least slow her. Where are you on that footage? 77%. Approximately. I need to buy whatever time I can, however I can. even if that means running out the clock as a punching bag. I have here messages between Dr. Ashur and a psychiatrist he is meeting with and speaking to for the past year, along with paperwork detailing how this treatment was covered under his Platinum plan. Platinum? I don't tend to air all of Dr. Ashur's secrets here in the court. Oh, okay, I guess. But I am prepared to read excerpts from messages and transcripts from phone calls, which, when put together, paint a clear picture of the kind of stress David Ashur was experiencing, and the dark thoughts he was struggling with. Transcripts of his phone calls. I'll admit them into evidence, assuming there are no objections. One sec. Nope, wrong thing. Come on. There we go. Evidence. Okay. Okay, so executive plan 4. 3 levels of employee private plans that are get that plan. So this is different. There are 2 different plans, supposedly, in his name. So with Caduceus, paid for by Noble. Platinum plan. Caduceus Platinum, merely in his name. Would you miss? Let's see. We questioned what the motives of him killing himself were. Emma brought up the phone call between him and his ex, specifically the one that happened less than 2 hours before the supposed poisoning, and gave the reason being, he just got broken up with over the phone. They're also submitting transcripts of his calls. Not the actual recordings, but the transcripts, which is interesting. I'm also questioning the fact that she's saying this is under his Platinum plan, but the only evidence we have about his plan is it's a 3. It could be that this is one he paid for himself? But why? But recorded calls, let's see. No, that's how they got the breakup call. This is just the details of it. Starling's... Okay. Nothing strange yet. Nothing strange. That's fresher. Let's see. Excerpts from transcripts, which put together paint a clear picture of the stress. I think we have to say there's nothing strange yet. Object? No, I don't. Except what she said. No, I do object. Say the first time. Come on. I'm down to 9. Grounds of Foundation. Where did you say you got this? It was retrieved from his digital records. There's no reason to doubt its authenticity. Even if I were to point out that David had an executive level 4 plan, not a Platinum plan. Really? Okay, so I was right. I should have called on that. Damn. I might run out of the capital to successfully do this test and have to redo the whole thing, which would suck. It would certainly make me feel dirty for not doing it properly the first time. Really? Yes, really. It's all there in the record. This is easily explained. David had an executive plan that Noble managed for him, and he was also seeing the psychiatrist, both in person and over the phone. Your own witness has attested that he dealt with stalkers and was worried for his privacy. Note, last update we got was 77%. It's easy enough to reason that he has separate insurance plan he paid for on his own. Even if he only to keep one thing out of Noble's grasp. Sure, easy enough to make that assumption, but that doesn't make it correct. David used a separate insurance to hide his psychiatrist from Noble's spying? No, he was smarter than that. Okay. Oh. Oh. Recorded calls. We need to up it as much as we can because we are running low. David may very well have wanted a private psychiatrist, someone who didn't work for Noble, who'd have his best interests at heart. But if so, he wouldn't have contacted them over the phone. Not when he knew all his phone calls were being recorded. Oh, we got 7 back. We got some breathing room. David Ashur was well versed in having every aspect of his life overanalyzed by data-hungry parasites. Do you really think he would try and hide mental health problems from them with a second insurance policy? Apparently, yes, since I'm standing here with evidence that shows exactly that. Does it, though? Pardon me? Yeah, like, what exactly are you suggesting, counselor? Still not done decrypting? Well, it's difficult to write. What the hell? Might as well swing for the fences at this point. I'm not trying to muddle the issue or confuse the court, Your Honor. And I would never make outlandish, unsubstantiated claims just for the sake of causing drama, she lied. What are you... I'm merely concerned that D.A. Rockford has been an unwitting pawn in an act of corporate espionage. Ooh. What? If the markets were to open Monday with people believing that David Ashur, the man who programmed the brain of every noble android, was battling mental health issues for the last several months? Objection! Mischaracterization! Foundation? All the rest? There are no corporate spies in this courtroom, counselor, and there are no boogeymen hiding under the bench. Oh, thank God. David Ashur was a once-in-a-generation intellect and an extremely valuable human asset to his employers. And his employers' many enemies would do whatever it takes to destroy his credibility, now that he can't defend himself. And it was also your personal... You shouldn't even be arguing this case in the first place, counselor. Now you're trying to call the police's evidence gathering into question? All because you can't admit, for the past several months, your friend has been seeing a psychiatrist every Monday and you didn't know? That is... I'm sorry, but did you still need me up here? The witness will refrain from interrupting when girls are fighting. Yes, ma'am. How my luck's been so far, Sarah's progress bar is probably moving backwards right about now. And his patience is wearing thin. It's my last shot to create any kind of reasonable doubt. I'd be happy to wrap up my question, if the court will allow. If the girls are fighting in the toxic Yuri L versus Light Yakami way, yes. That seems cool with me. And my evidence, Your Honor? Will it be entered into the record? I'd like to hear a bit more testimony before deciding. That's fine, Your Honor. As you were, counselor. At this stage of the game, with the score where it's at, I'll probably only ask one more question. Better make it count. So what can Starling tell us that no one else could? If she hadn't called me this morning, I wouldn't be standing here. She only did that because... Miss Starling, we're all gathered here to try and figure out what happened to Dr. Ashur last night. So please tell us, when exactly did he last... I think contact you is the answer. When was the last time you had contact with Dr. Assure, Miss Starling? Well, that's pretty easy to figure out. Let me just... Yeah, it was last night at 6:57 p.m. We texted back and forth. There are records of some texts, but they're flagged as work-related. Does the court really think they're relevant, Your Honor? Relevant? One sec, let me double-check evidence. Okay. That's Sarah's papers. Isn't here? No. Where's the info about when she had called us? Sorry, she had been called by David about this. No. No. I don't think the emergency console, but... nope. Shit. Okay, what was this said? Yes. Could very well be the single most important piece of evidence in this whole trial. But I just got chills. Don't know why, though. Must be a coolant leak. The defense doesn't know what they're talking about. On the contrary, these texts are a vital piece of evidence that change the timeline of events as we know them. We know what happened to David last night, generally speaking, but the order of events is critical, especially if Emma wants to make claims about David's state of mind. Okay. Okay, starting texts. Fix 657. This is about transfer of ownership for Sarah. Okay, when... the call. Isaac's call. 6:37. Okay. So minutes after... So bringing up Sarah might not be a smart thing, because it sounds like preparations like, hey, I'm going to kill myself, I'm going to pass off ownership of my robot daughter. We'll continue with this. Draw cards from your hand onto slots in chronological order, left to right. Pick card back up and place another slot if you change your mind, or drop it outside any slot to return to your hand. Fill all to submit the answer. Okay. So, 6:57. Before he died, didn't seem to add anything. So it's this. Here. Okay. Drank the David before he died. Pass out after poison. So yeah, this would have to be the last thing. No, I didn't. I didn't up the bed. Thanks to Miss Starling, we've now got a much clearer picture of the night's events. We know that Isaac Porter and David Asher broke up at 6:30 p.m. And I was rooting for them so hard. And we know that David messaged his assistant, Miss Starling, at 6:57 p.m. David is on camera with a witness from 7:30 to 8 p.m. And he was declared dead not long after. The people don't object to that timeline of events, but we do question Counselor Morgan's reason for belaboring it. One last question, Miss Starling. Yeah? What was the nature of your conversation with Dr. Assure? Well, actually, we talked about you. And how he wanted you to have his android. That android there. Putting his affairs in order, I guess. It might appear that way. Can you specify what his instructions were? Exactly. How did he want this done? Well, he wanted me to bring you to his penthouse, help you get set up as the android's new owner. Yes, Mr. Allen, but when did he want this to happen? Well, he said it was pretty urgent, so I should do it first thing Tuesday morning. Tuesday. First thing, Tuesday morning. Dave DeSure didn't like doing anything on Mondays. And was he going to be in attendance? Well, actually, yes, he said he would work from home to help us. No way he intended for us to have that much trouble getting to... Oh! To summarize, then, half an hour after he'd already had his breakup, and half an hour before his guest had arrived, he was planning an appointment that required his presence with you for next Tuesday. That's right. He was. Not something you would think to do if you were planning on dying that very night. Yeah, you're right. That's... Your Honor, if Dave DeSure was preparing for the week ahead a mere hour before he passed away, don't you think the people's assumption about his mental state ought to be re-examined? Your logic is sound. Do the people have a rebuttal? If the court will just allow a moment. Sounds like an opening to me. If we assume that Dr. DeSure was not suicidal, and therefore did not kill himself, we must then ask ourselves who else had the means, motive, and opportunity to take his life. Until now, we've taken for granted this idea that the Delta must have come from his manufacturer, from inside the house. Adonai. Not right now. But even if that's true, which it may not be, that doesn't mean that he was the one who used the manufacturer. Adonai! Would you allow me one moment to confer, Your Honor? Sure. Why not throw away your momentum? I'm in the middle of something, Sarah. I can't afford to let Rockford... I've gained access to the hard drive's files. What? Seriously? As I said, progress with this type of encryption is exponential. It can be difficult to estimate. Right, okay. Do you have the footage from last night? I have the file. Have you watched it? I thought you'd want to know right away. I suppose it doesn't matter. If this has our silver bullet and we've got a case, or it doesn't and everything falls apart. That seems quite risky. It's the least risky path to victory we have. Seeing how it's the only path to victory we have. Screw it. Uploaded it to the court computer. Yes, Adonai. Thank you for your patience, Your Honor. Your Honor, I'm awake, and I'm getting a pretty hefty chunk of video data for breakfast. You're submitting security footage into evidence? New security footage. The police corroborated the witness's testimony using the house's cameras. Security cameras installed by Noble as part of the penumbra system that showed the parlor, the kitchen, but not the basement. During the course of my investigation, I uncovered a hidden security circuit buried in the deceased's own home system. You... what? The people say that the Delta must have been in Dr. DeSure's cup because there's no other way for him to have ingested it. But we never saw him or anyone else put anything in his cup on camera. Because he must have poisoned his own drink off camera. Exactly. But that's the only possible explanation. That he added the Delta to his drink off camera. He placed his cup inside the manufacturer, activated, waited 2 minutes, and then walked upstairs to his death. But I'm about to present to the court footage retrieved from his basement. Footage that will show that by the time he retrieved the cups in the basement, it's already past 7:38. Meaning he didn't have the opportunity to poison himself. One clip of footage will prove all that. If it doesn't, I'm completely screwed. But it's not like I can lose a preliminary hearing extra hard. Anything other than a royal flush here means I'm bust. So it better be the Joker who dances. You're mixing games here. Like we've had blackjack, a royal flush, the regular poker. The Joker... what card games did the Joker come in? Balatro, I guess? I guess sometimes a wild card, but I don't think that's like high-level poker. Old maid. The data has been entered into the court record. Sarah, show us when Dr. Schur entered the basement. Yes, Adonai. I'll search for it now. Here. On screen. That's the bar. And timestamp is 7:36. There. David's grabbing the bottle of Rose River and leaving. That's 7:37. Just under the wire, as it were. Is that it then? Came this far just to... Wait. Did he have the cups with him? Is there sound? None at all. Keep going. If you had to go back to get the cups. Counselor. What's that android doing on camera? It's at the bar. The android gave him the cups. Shit. That machine never stepped on camera upstairs, not once. We don't know its whereabouts the day of his death. It could have poisoned the cup whenever it wanted. Shit! What is this? I don't understand. Your Honor, have the courtroom cleared. Understood. Please, someone. I don't know what's going on. Sarah, you need to shut down. Please, tell me what I'm looking at. I don't remember any of that. Do we have callers available? Sarah, shut down now! Adonai, please tell me what I... That's an order. Is it off? Yeah, it's off. Seen this before. It won't do anything until I reactivate it. We don't know that. We don't know anything about this thing anymore. That's... Your Honor. In light of this most recent evidence, the people would like to withdraw their charges against Dr. Schur and end this preliminary hearing. It has been made abundantly clear that David Schur did not commit suicide. Very well. The charges are withdrawn, and the defendant is free to go. Well, as free as he can be in the afterlife. This case is dismissed. Yep, I thought we were going to avoid this when I joked about it's like, oh yeah, she's going to be charged with murder, and then find out we're defending him against the charges of suicide. It's like, oh, okay, that's a twist from the typical genre of cyberpunk android creator dies mysteriously. But, whew. The question is, largely, is this going to be the end of Chapter 1? Is this going to be cliffhanger until Chapter 2 gets released? Or will we also do this case to defend her? I think we will, because we got a lot of evidence that never even came up as a possible wrong answer to use, to be honest. But yeah, this case is dismissed. Congratulations, Counselor Morgan. Hey, chalk up another victory for Morgan Esquire. Now all I have to do is deal with the shitstorm of the decade. $8:47. So that started at 5:30. Let's assume at least an hour. No. Hour and a half. Because at one point, when we asked about for an update on the progress, we estimated about another hour. Let's see, 5:30, 6 to 7. So we're at least another hour, maybe 2, depending on how the time frame was after we finally got the decryption done. Same day, same year. But I'm not sure about the place. Did it actually say? 1 sec. Nope, did not say where. Well, I managed to prove that David didn't kill himself. And in the process, I proved that his android did. I prove that the android that's been walking around with me all day is capable of murder. A killer robot. True unbound AI with military-grade specs and at least one death to its name already. So much for avoiding the public eye. Thank you for coming here on such short notice, Judge Barrows. Ha! As if I'm doing you some kind of favor. I didn't realize I had any choice in the matter. This isn't some bad joke, is it, Miss Rockford? I am afraid not, Your Honor. You know, I like the Adjutants. I always have. They deal with the criminal trials of the bookish, quiet, contemplative people like me can spend all day typing up arguments for obscure legal treatises. That's what I like to do. Oh, is that so, Miss Barrows? Well, let's just take a look to help buy time. Also, I just realized we have a profile on the Adjutant as well. We need to look at that. Superior Judge of the Higher Circuit. Likes air conditioning, espresso, and reclining chairs. It's hard to read that. Dislikes parking lots, noise pollution, and mud. You know, fair on all 3 points. Avoids overspending on restaurants. Splurges on expensive hotels, however. And relaxes by watching action movies. Interesting mix. Also 80. Oh, and here we get without the mask, goggles, lens, whatever you want to call it. Because I know there are points where she reveals her own eyes behind it to kind of like look at us. Automated dependent. Likes raw salmon, running water, and gymnastics. One of these things is not like the other. Dislikes criminals, contrarians, and pigeons. Actually, no, you know what? Pigeons is fair. It's like if a statue was sentient, you'd think they'd hate pigeons too. Is a Libra stuff? Oh, because the scales of fate. Ha 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 ha. Her type: open, obedient, observant. O people, like blood type, whatever. And it gives us our 3 sides. That really okay. I'm just surprised. That's what I like to do. I don't like coming down here and dealing with all this heavy-handedness. Won't someone toiling away under the police state think of the poor bureaucrats? And I certainly don't like making rulings on anything as spicy as AI. She can barely bring herself to say it. And you, Counselor Morgan, you're the one it's registered to. That's correct, Your Honor. So what did it do, exactly? Torture an animal, shut down a hospital, crash a coin market. We have it on camera poisoning a man, killing its creator. You mean Dr. Assure? That is... We can't hope to keep this quiet for very long. All we can do is try to wrap it up quickly. Let's make haste. Adjutant, do you have the case number? Case ID is 241277-A. Docket number YT9843188282. Thank you. Can you repeat that? YT9843188282. I think I lost you after the first 8. I have it copied here. And what are the security procedures for an incident of this nature? A data quarantine is to be established around any networks the subject was exposed to for more than 66 seconds. All offending hardware is to be destroyed immediately through incineration at a minimum temperature of 3,422 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes. Sorry, Spearmint. There's nothing to be done. No debate to be had. This isn't even a decision. Sorry, Sarah, not Spearmint. David gave you that name? I should at least make the effort to use it. That sounds very hot. Do we have furnaces that get that hot? Of course. There are a number of industrial furnaces within the city limits that I could recommend. Sorry? Why should I be sorry anyway? I fulfilled the request. Favor repaid. I don't know Sarah anything, especially not if it killed my friend. Right? Morgan. I'm sorry? I was just saying how grateful I am that we have the procedures for this kind of thing all laid out already. Yep, keeps things nice and simple. It can feel somewhat severe going through these steps so quickly, but nothing, Your Honor. Artificial intelligence is perhaps the greatest threat to human civilization and the sanctity of life there's ever been. Any piece of software, big or small, no matter the vessel, if it can violate the tenets it was programmed with, it has the potential to cripple our nation in a matter of moments. Yes, couldn't have said it better myself. Straight from the textbook, almost. Well, I mean it. Monsters like that don't belong in this world. They should never have been born in the first place. Destroying them is a kindness. And if anyone's to blame, it's... No one's blaming you, Counselor. You couldn't have known you were in possession of an AI. I'm talking too much. I'm probably just tired. It's been a long day, and I've had a lot of thoughts. Sorry, Sarah. Whatever you are. You were just born wrong. Not your fault, necessarily. If it were up to me, you'd get points for trying. Trying to be something more. Trying to be something at all. Or anything other than what you are. It was stupid, of course, and futile. And pointless, spending hours in front of a TV or laying in bed, staring at your phone, watching stupid movies and trying to papier-mâché an ill-fitted mask of Mandy out of the scraps you could tear out of magazines. Practicing expressions and memorizing lines and trying to get something to take root and grow despite knowing it'd have nothing to feed on. Stupid. Morgan? What was that, Counselor? I said objection. And what are you objecting to? What are you doing, Morgan? I'm a defense attorney. This is what I do. I understand you've been through a lot these past few hours, Counselor. But there's nothing to defend. On the contrary, Your Honor, I have to defend myself. Pardon. You say that this android, Sarah, is an AI because it broke its tenets. Obviously. And you believe it broke its tenets because of this newly discovered footage that appeared to show it committing murder via poison. All true, and no laws broken on your part. Here it comes. Never thought I'd be incriminating myself in the courtroom just to make a point. Don't you dare try and entrap me on this. We have to max out. Describe safe employment, fireable offenses like fraud. These purchase more bugged than picnic. Provides ownership of Sarah found inside panic room. Okay. What was the exact wording I just said? Never thought I'd be incriminating myself just to make a point. I think it has to be this. It's pretty simple, actually. If the state is making the claim that Sarah is an AI, they're accusing me of committing a felony. Because I'm the legal owner of that android. Alright, we're back up. We're at 38. We're at that loss of somewhere between 10 and 15 from when we started this case today. Which is something, because I made a lot of fucking mistakes. What the hell are you doing? And if the state wants to charge me with owning an AI, I will not take that lying down. I know my rights. Counselor, your argument is self-defeating. Listen to yourself, Counselor. You claim that Sarah is just an android, a product that will be obsolete within a year. But you've only known it for a few hours. You've only owned it for a matter of minutes. And yet here you are risking a felony charge to save it from being demolished. Because you're wrong. And I know you wouldn't care. Not unless this android was something special. Look at us. This is the most toxic hearing moment we've had. Me arguing that I'm guilty, and I'm arguing that I'm a softie. It'd be funny if it wasn't so fun. You think there's no reason I'd want to save this android from destruction, other than feelings of personal attachment? Well, not that one. Evaluation. Oh wait, nope. I gotta recover as much as possible. Okay. I can think of at least one reason why I don't want you to turn Sarah into slag. One very convincing reason. Or very convincing number, which is still not specified for us. We're just told it's disgustingly large. Like, Jesus Christ. What are you... What is that? That number is Sarah's estimated financial value on the collector's market. You've got to be... I got it from an insurance valuation algorithm. They're designed to lowball you. That does seem like a reasonable incentive for you to want to keep your android intact. It's a free country, Your Honor. I have a right to defend myself. And we have a free market, so I have a responsibility to defend my financial interests. Your Honor, a trial like this would be... I'm not going to let you turn this courtroom into a circus, Morgan. You can't spend the next half-decade bringing in expert after expert to testify on the philosophical distinction between AIs and ads, spiraling into appeal after appeal, all while the media. This machine appears to have willfully killed a man. The public needs answers. Now. But of course, Your Honor, I have neither the desire nor the resources to get into a drawn-out battle with the state over what constitutes an illegal machine intellect. So, the state says my android, my property, killed a man in violation of its tenets. So they want to take my property and destroy it. I'll prove that my machine didn't harm anyone. So the state will have no reason to suspect it's an AI, and I'll get to keep my property. Unlawful seizure thwarted. Don't be cute. I feel a stomach ulcer coming on. Fine. You'll have your day in court, but it'll be one day, tomorrow. Prove that this machine didn't kill Dr. Rasher. No, prove that it couldn't have killed him. Anything less than absolute proof, and I'll have the damn thing obliterated. And you'll also be looking at a very real sentencing for the public unrest you'll have enabled. Yes, Your Honor. D.A. Rockford, what I'm asking of you is just as heavy. Find the truth by the end of tomorrow. We can't settle for anything else. Win or lose, there can be no doubts about the outcome of this case. Yes, Your Honor. And now, I need to go lie down. Can I come? You can power down. Okay, so... What the fuck is gonna happen? Okay. Let's take a look at what new evidence we got in that little... Oh, nothing. We got nothing new. Okay. I'm not even sure what else we could follow up on. Let's see. Stuff we have not done. Like Mother, like Daughter, yes. And in case you missed some of these similarities when talking about learning from a TV, how to people and whatnot, that actually mirrored some comments that Sarah had earlier. Oh wait, wrong way. Sorry, I was trying to swing this while I talk. Comments about how she'd like to watch old movies, including ones with Humphrey Bogart, a star of the silver screen, including the classic Casablanca. And, yeah, apparently that really hit Morgan here in the heartstrings. It's like, god damn, she's just like me, for real, for real. But, you know, less... God, Gen X, Gen Z, whatever Gen coined that particular phrase. Oof. Morgan. I misjudged you. At what point? Whenever I wrote you off as a small-time defense attorney, just trying to tread water, ouch. That is so sweet of you to say, Emma. There's layers to you. You've got backbone. Teeth, even. You're gonna make me blush. People talk about your kind like you're boxing against the state, fighting the man. But most defense attorneys wouldn't know a cyberpunk if they walked up to them on the street and shot him. Interesting turn of phrase there. Meanwhile, you've just signed up to do 15 rounds, challenging the state's authority. Why? Not sure, exactly. For David? Yeah, probably. Probably just me being sentimental. But if I had to pick a more lofty reason, well, I think it's all the moralizing. People can be evil. They can choose to do evil things for evil reasons. And if you want to execute them for that, you'll hear no complaint from me. But animals can't be evil. Information can't be evil. Ideas can't be evil. Guess I'm not convincing AI can be evil either. Whatever else I get up to, I don't want to stand with the book burners of the world. You're more high-minded than I realized. You sure you're in the right line of work? Can't see myself doing anything else. Good luck, Morgan. There are book burners on all sides these days. Talked big game just now, but I'm in an even deeper hole than when I was trying to prove David's innocence. Doubt won't be enough this time. I need to find the actual culprit, no matter what. "9:31 a.m. the next day. We're in Precinct 254. Homicide office again. This might be the best place to leave it off, because I think a majority of the next stream for this is gonna be her case. I can't imagine how much more evidence I can get. See, here's the thing. Who could have hacked Sarah? And actually, I'm going to say it before I forget, because I absolutely will. The question is, who would have hacked Sarah? We're gonna... Is there something on her here? And, yeah, nothing up here. Okay, so Sarah here. The new suspect of the killing. How would she have been hacked? Because what we found out 2 parts ago, so that's about 2 weeks, what we found out is she was in a vault where only 2 people would have been able to get her out. Her creator and father, Dr. David Assure, and ourself. He was in the most secure part of his penthouse. And as was stated, there is no camera footage in the outside, well, of the penumbra of cameras that saw her, at least of that day. But from the stories she told us about her interaction with David, she never really left. And as secure as his basement was, the question is who could have not only gotten past the same security systems we did, but then also hacked. Here's the possible thing that could have happened. Because for one, Sarah confirmed not too long after we met her that she can tell an untruth. We had her phrase the orders given by David falsely to the police so that we could get into the investigation. The question is, was she speaking untruth about the camera footage, not remembering why or that moment? Or is it perhaps a case of not thinking that it was real? You know, the old jokey question, do androids dream of electric sheep? As lifelike as David had been trying to make warm androids, this one in particular, did he give her the potential to dream? And if she can dream, is she able to tell the difference between reality and that dream? Because, like, she has an incredibly powerful processing system. She decrypted the fuck out of the video files in what was supposed to be a super difficult setup. Yeah, can she sleepwalk? So I think the question is, if she can tell untruths, can her can her senses be fooled as well? Like, not hacked as in told explicitly to do this, but perhaps could something have affected her perception in the form of a sleepwalking type mode that perhaps neither she nor David knew the depths of and what could happen. Because I think that's the most likely thing that's going to happen without continuing to actually finding evidence. The other possibility, and one I want to really hope is not it, and it's also possibly misremembering a spoiler that's going to come up. But I'm going to say what I believe is the nature of the favor owed to David. My assumption says that this favor is a spoiler that's going to come up. That is someone who was a stalkery type, who's creeping David out, went too far. He asked Morgan for help, and she scared him. I'm going to keep the exact details off, but I'm pretty sure that's the nature of the favor. That David lied to the police, suspecting that she had done something to protect her. That's why she owed him. What I'm leaning to is the second possibility I'm thinking of, that I'm really hoping is not it, is that he intentionally set this up. I'm not sure what the reason behind that would be, to think that he needed to die in this particular way to take her down, because, like, if he set all this up, framed it in a way that with her own moral code she'd trade the favor from Sarah, investigate the case, eventually find all those secrets that he had set up specifically to help with, only to find further evidence that damns her. I don't know, and I really hope that's not it, because everything that has been setting up David Assure is that he's a brilliant person, but not the sort to get revenge, to be petty like that. What I'm hoping actually happened is some variant of the sleepwalking theory we've put out there. Or perhaps the theory I said last stream, and that the poison was not delivered via the cups at all, but through an inhaler that was specifically pointed out by Morgan when we were talking to Miss Young in her own private office. And the fact that it was not described in the evidence of the ARCS file at the crime scene. It was not shown in the, I guess, the dining area, or the kitchen, or the bar, which were visible there. But we do know from his, from Miss Starling, his secretary, that he did also take it. I'm still going with that one. I really don't want our late friend to have tried to fuck us over intentionally. I want this to be unfortunate evidence that is just merely framed in the wrong way. But yeah, with that, we're going to end stream about a half hour early. Let's go to the BRB screen and find someone to raid into. I believe Braca started stream about the same time as I do, and she usually goes for like 3.5 to 4 hour streams. Okay, let's see if she's still on. Yep, he's also live. Alright, I should turn off desktop audio just for these ads I have to sit through. Oh yeah, Brock is still up. I have not had the opportunity to raid her in a while. She's playing some Black Book, which is a game I'm interested in. Not enough to make it a high priority for my wish list purchasing. Yeah, let's raid on over her. And then the raid... actually, no, for a raid message, let's do something... Listen. Shoot, I want to do something themed around, Pinocchio. Our robot daughter did nothing wrong. How about that? Nothing wrong. How's that for a raid message? Alright, I'm just going to copy that myself. But as always, my tome readers, I hope you guys are eating enough, drinking enough, getting enough sleep. Take care of your body so your body can take care of you. And, do your best. Help each other, be there for each other. Regardless of whether, like Morgan, you see a bit of yourself in them, or whether they just merely need a bit of help, and you're able to give that with a kind word or gesture, if nothing else. No man is an island. We're a community, and communities work together when they can to survive. And hopefully we too will survive with our daughter. But until next time, see you guys around.